Namaste and welcome to the first yoga session of 2025. And we're all eager to get back into our practice in this new year, part of the year. It is the most auspicious time to start a new endeavor or to develop a new positive habit or to decide on your adventure for the year. Making some plans is always really nice. This is the year I turned 50, so I am super excited about the potential of this year. So we're going to start our practice sitting down. We're going to find a comfortable seat. You might like to ease the flesh of the buttocks back a little bit to give you some room. You don't have to sit cross-legged. You can kneel, you can extend the legs, you can keep the knees bent in that position, whatever it might be. Simply bringing yourself into a nice upright position, resting the hands wherever feels comfortable, maybe closing your eyes or gazing gently downward. Take this moment to feel how your body feels, to make note of any areas of stiffness, tension, or discomfort, or just to recognize any injuries or recoveries that you're making. We're working with the body that we've got, so we need to take these things into account and work compassionately throughout our practice. Notice at least one part of your body that feels spacious, comfortable, and at ease. Allow those feelings of ease to ripple out from wherever they're centered, softening tension you might be holding elsewhere. Notice your breath in this moment, the gentle rhythm of your breath, and the sensation of your breath. If it feels right for you, you might like to deepen your breath. And as you exhale, gently engaging the belly muscles to exhale fully. With a soft belly, breathing deeply in and letting that breath lift you tall. And as you exhale, nice and long and slow, gently engaging across the navel to exhale fully. Deep breaths in with the belly relaxed, breathing into the sides of the body, the back and the chest. Long, slow exhalations, using the tummy muscles to exhale completely. Soft in the belly, breathing into the rib cage, the collarbones, the shoulder blades. And long, slow exhalations. Doing a couple more of these longer breaths, charging the body up with prana and energy for our practice. And getting rid of some of that air that's been hanging around in the lungs when we breathe more shallowly. Is shallowly a word? I'm not sure. It's all good. At the end of your next exhalation, we're going to draw the palms together at the center of the chest and draw the chin towards the chest and give ourselves a gentle smile, feeling the length down the back of the neck, seeing if you can soften your shoulders down a little. And when you're ready, raising your head and opening your eyes. Let us take our hands to wherever is comfortable and roll the shoulders a few times. If you feel that you need to release the cross of your legs so that you can cross in the opposite direction, you can absolutely do that for balance. You don't have to. First session of the year, you can do as you choose. In the center, lifting yourself tall and just taking the right ear to the right shoulder, and then through the center, left ear to left shoulder. Let's do that a couple of times, more times to each side. Gently lengthening the sides of the neck. And then when you're ready, you can bring your head back to center, and then we'll sit really tall and turn to look over the right shoulder, chin parallel to the floor or thereabouts, back through center, looking over the left shoulder. Just turning the head from side to side, following the range of movement that feels comfortable to you, not going too quickly so that you notice the effect of moving and the sensations in the body. And when you're ready, you can come back to center, draw the chin towards the chest, and then rolling your head back to center. Take the bottom teeth over the top teeth, lift the chin up, and rolling back to center. Let's do that one more time. Chin to chest. Coming back to a neutral upright, bottom teeth over top teeth, chin lifted. And back to center, just relaxing the jaw, maybe wiggling the bottom jaw from side to side. You don't have to make the noise if you don't want to. And then we'll allow the face to be nice and soft and simply blow air through the lips while they're really relaxed. So we get a sort of raspberry effect. One more like that, deep breath in. Now, if you're not laughing, then that's okay. It's all right. But laughing is definitely something we should do for that. We're going to take these legs and extend them away from the body. So it doesn't matter where they're extended to, and you don't have to have the knees straight, so you can have the knees bent if you'd like to. We're simply trying to find a place that feels comfortable to sit. You might like to ease the flesh of the buttocks again, and then we'll do some side-to-side moving. I've got this block because we're using it later in class, please excuse me. So side to side moving, just lifting up and over, and then the same thing to the other side. So if you can, keep a little active in your legs. So toes pointing up towards the ceiling, thinking about taking strength from the legs to be able to make the sideways movement, little lift in the belly muscles. And the next time you go to your right side, we're going to hang out there. So here, allowing that right elbow to be softened so your shoulder can come down, we're gently pulsing towards the right side, doing it nice and slowly so we're really aware of our movements, not doing more than the body likes to do. And then reaching over to the right side, roll your right shoulder back a little bit and your right shoulder forward a little bit. So we're turning the chest up towards the ceiling or in that general direction, and then down towards the floor. We're still in that side bend, still got the belly muscles lifting. And then this time, as you come down, you can reach your left hand across the body and just see if you've got a little bit of room to move there. Pad the hands back towards the center, hands nice and wide, elbows nice and soft, shoulders releasing down, lift from the base of the spine all the way forward, shining a light from the center of the chest forward for a little gentle sway of the chest from side to side. And you can be right up. You have the knees bent, you're still making movements, you're still creating space that your body perhaps hasn't yet found today. When you're ready, you can pad the hands back towards you, sit tall, release the arms wide, and we'll do the same thing to the left. Reaching over to the left, just finding that softness in the left elbow and shoulder so that you can pulse towards that side, lengthening a little bit more the right side. Nice and lifted in the belly. When you're ready, you can roll the right shoulder back to open the chest, roll the right shoulder forward, opening the chest towards the ceiling as you roll back the way, and turning the chest towards the floor as you roll forwards. Just a little backwards and forwards. This is such a lovely movement, this spiraling that we make. The next time you come forwards, you're going to reach the right hand across the body, maybe towards the left side of the left leg, And then just see if there's a little bit more room to move. Doesn't matter if there isn't. Add your hands back towards center, nice and wide, gliding the shoulder blades down, lifting in the chest, and giving yourself another little sway from side to side. For those who feel comfortable, you can come a little deeper down. We're trying not to hunch the shoulders around, but keep the chest open as we move. There's no need to hold anything, and you can stay as high as you like. When you're ready, pad your hands back towards you. You're going to ease the feet in one at a time, supporting the legs, and just give ourselves a little wrap around the knees, chin to chest. For a deep breath in and out. And as you breathe deeply here, it's just like child's pose. You can feel that breath expanding through the back of the body, finding space between the ribs or in the low back or whatever it may be. And then from here, we're gently going to come onto our hands and knees. So if you need a little bit of support underneath the knees, feel free. You can start from a kneeling position if it's comfortable for you, or come straight into your hands and knees. Hands wherever they're suitable. Everyone who does this class live is an experienced yogi. You know where to put your hands. You don't need any extra instructions, but checking that you spread your fingers and you're pressing the tops of the feet down into the floor as well. We want to create space underneath the body by really activating the arms and legs, maybe gently rolling the inner elbows towards each other or more forward if it suits your body, not hyperextending in the elbow. So a little softness there. With the belly lifted, we're simply going to tip the pelvis so that we open the space between the navel and the pubic bone, and then round the pelvis under so we open the space in the low back. So we're just tipping the lowest part of the spine backwards and forwards. It's a rolling of the pelvis one way and then the other. The belly muscles stay active, and perhaps there's a touch of lift in the pelvic floor. When you're ready, you can come back to a more neutral space with your low back, and then we'll focus on the upper back. So we're going to draw the shoulder blades towards each other so the chest comes down towards the floor, and then press the shoulder blades away from each other so the chest lifts away from the floor. So the low back is pretty still here, and we're just lowering and lifting the upper back space. And for those who are comfortable, you can roll the shoulders here, which allows you to do that up and down movement, but with a little bit more movement through the shoulders. It's really the chest and the back that are working hard here. If you're rolling, go the opposite way as well. If rolling doesn't suit you, simply up and down is great here. Or you can slide your shoulders up towards your ears and down towards your hips a couple of times. When you're ready, you can pad your hands back towards you so that you kneel up or back as you choose, doesn't matter which. And then just releasing the hands, give the wrists a little bit of a shake. We can roll through the wrists here, or do any releasing practice that feels good to your body. Go the opposite way, of course. If you roll one way, always rolling the opposite way as well. Yoga feels like it balances very well that way, but I do feel like I'm always saying that. And then we will take our hands back to the mat to find cat-cow pose. So any hands and knees that feels good to you. And we are starting from a neutral spine, pressing the feet down, firming the belly, maybe rolling the inner elbows slightly forward. And then from the base of the spine, tipping the tailbone upwards, lengthening the front of the body. As the movement comes up the spine, gliding the shoulder blades down to open the chest and looking forward, still lifted in the belly muscles, but of course lengthened in the front of the body. And then from the base of the spine, tucking under, rounding through the back of the body and chin to chest. From the base, rolling forward until the shoulders glide down to open the chest. And from the base, rolling under, lifting the body away from the floor and chin to chest. Two more like this, from the base, rolling forward, nice and focused and aware, rolling from the base the opposite way And here we're going to bring the hips back towards the heels and just reach the hands a little bit further forward so that we're in a more extended pose, almost like a child's pose. You can have the hands nice and wide as well. I see people doing this with the hands close together. It's really hard to get the body between the hands if the hands are close together. So hands nice and wide, relax the forehead towards the floor. Doesn't matter if it doesn't go. From here, we're going to press off the feet and round forward, lifting the whole body forward, but looking back towards the knees until we get the head over the hands. And then we're going to look forward, glide the shoulder blades down and do a sort of lifted up dog, but with the knees on the floor. And then we're rounding back the way. If you need to give yourself more space between your hands and your knees, just reach the hands a little bit further forward. So we're rounding forward and then gliding the shoulder blades down to open the chest. The hips come towards the floor, but very active in the legs and the buttocks. And then we're rounding back the way. Easing that sense of length into the low back. Let's do 2 more like that. Gliding the shoulder blades down to open the chest. Feeling strength here because the shoulders are down, the upper back's really firm. And then coming back the way. Last one. Coming all the way forward. This time you might like to stop in your forward position and give that same sway of the chest that we did in our forward bend or when we were seated. You don't have to if you don't want to. And then round all the way back. Give yourself a moment to settle in the back position, maybe turning the palms upwards if your head naturally meets the floor, or folding the arms at the elbows for the head to rest onto the back of the forearms. It doesn't matter which you choose, just choose the one that's more comfortable. If you don't mind a little sway from side to side, you might sway your hips a little in this position, just to nurture those hip joints. When you're ready, you can come back to your hands and knees position, and we're going to come into a position with the knees much closer towards each other, nice and firm in the places underneath the body, and then freeing the right knee from the floor, just lifting the right heel up behind you, and then drawing the right knee into the chest as you round forward. So a little tiger pose here, gliding the shoulder blades down as the heel lifts, nice and firm in the belly. We're just doing 1 more like this. And then from a neutral position, we're going to make hip circles. So the rest of the body is stabilizing as the right leg moves in circles. It doesn't matter what those circles look like, but we want to press the hands into the floor and away from each other to stabilize the chest. Let's make those circles in the opposite direction as well. And we want to be nice and firm in the left leg and the belly muscles and try to avoid dropping your head down. So keep looking slightly forward. Knees together, and we'll do the same thing to the other side. So first create space underneath the body, and then lifting the left heel up as you glide the shoulder blades down and look forward, and then rounding through the spine, the left knee into chest, heel to buttock as well. Lifting the left heel up, lifting the belly muscles, those shoulder blades gliding to create space, and then scooping the belly in, heel towards buttock. 1 more time forwards. And backwards. And then from your neutral spot, firming the rest of the body so that you can make knee circles with the left knee. So we need the support of the rest of the body to be able to make that movement as comfortable as possible, doing 4 in the opposite direction when you're ready. Pressing the hands into the mat and away from each other really helps to stabilize the chest. And then when you're ready, both knees on the floor, and just bringing your hands back towards you so you're kneeling upright. You can be kneeling away from your feet if you like. If you're comfortable here, you can tuck the toes under and just rest your hips back onto your heels or in that general direction as we release the wrists. And remember, you can always come away from the heels a little bit if you choose. Do any wrist releasing practices that feel good to you. Please excuse me, I'm going to have to cough. Very good. It's been a while since I've used my voice so much all in one go. And then when you're ready, you can tuck your toes flat again, adjust your trousers if you need to, and we'll come into downward facing dog. So we're coming back to our hands and knees, nice spread fingers, tucking the toes, lifting the knees up first, and then pressing the chest back towards the bent legs. We're going to roll the inner elbows slightly forward to activate the upper arms, and then begin to lengthen the legs. Doesn't matter how straight they get, it's not about that. If you can, ease one heel to the floor and then the other. You might like to turn your head as you do that. Make sure to press into the base of the fingers and the fingertips, as well as the heels of the hands, just balancing the effort across the hand. We're just gently going from side to side. We're not making any more significant movements than this. Perhaps you'd like to bend both knees and wiggle the hips a little from side to side. That's a really nice way to release any effort in the back. And then from here, we're going to walk the feet forward to the hands so that we're in a nice standing forward bend. Again, the knees can be as bent as you like, doesn't matter. Here, if it's comfortable, with the knees a little bent, you can cross the arms elbow to elbow, allow the crown of the head to hang, and if you'd like to, you can do a gentle sway with the upper body from side to side. Doesn't need to be much, or you might simply like to hold in the center. As you breathe in, the body gently bobs slightly away from the hands, from the legs, and as you breathe out, maybe scooping the belly in and allowing yourself to bob closer to the thighs. So either of these movements is fine. You can do a little bit of both if you like. Whenever you're ready, releasing the hands down, don't have to touch the floor. Chin towards the chest. We'll bend the knees deeply, press into the center of the feet and scoop the belly in. Use the effort of the legs to round all the way up to an upright position. As you come to upright, turning the palms forward to draw the shoulder blades towards each other on the back of the body, feeling length down the back of the body, opening the chest. Feel a gentle squeezing lift into the legs, into the belly muscles, and then reaching the arms around the body and up, joining the palms and bringing the palms down to the center of the chest, keeping the head lifted, and at the last minute, drawing the chin towards the chest. Give yourself a gentle smile, and when you're ready, raise your head, release your hands, and open your eyes. Wonderful stuff. So hopefully you feel nicely limbered and ready for a little bit of more vigorous practice. Not necessarily more vigorous, just more dynamic. I don't know what I mean. I'm sure it will be perfect, whatever it is. So we're upstanding, and whilst we've done lots of limbering, I'd like us to give a moment to feel the feet onto the ground. So we'll do our Kati Chakrasana. Feet nice and wide, a little soft bounce into the knees. And as you bounce, beginning to draw the pelvic floor upwards, the belly muscles inwards. And when you're ready, you can stand steady and then sway from side to side or twist from side to side. So just a gentle movement here. If it's comfortable, your head can follow the movement. If you prefer, you can keep your head centered, whatever works for you. Soft elbows and arms, just allowing the arms to wrap around the body and tap the body. And hopefully also release some of the effort that the arms have made in our previous set of practices. When you're ready, you can firm the legs and the belly a little bit more and make the movement with your upper body. And maybe just give yourself a nice patting or slapping type of sensation across the upper body, across the shoulders and chest in front of the body, maybe across the center of the rib cage or the sides of the ribs behind the body. And the arms really fling quite wide in between. And if you like to, you can keep your head centered for this. Sometimes it's helpful to be able to keep the hips a little bit more centered as well. When you're ready, you can release the heels, slow your movement down, make it more gentle again. Pivoting on the feet, on the toes, not both at the same time. And if, like me, you tend to twist away from that lifted heel, then we're going to change it up and twist towards the lifted heel. So simply keep your heel lifted and twist the body back, and then change that pivot. And you might like to also change the arms to be a little bit lower, so you're tapping either side of the hips with the arms as you turn towards that lifted heel. And this feels really nice. When you don't do it very often, you're like, oh yeah, this actually feels quite good. Sometimes it feels more awkward if you're not used to changing up your habitual patterns, and that's fine. That's a lesson for us. Whenever you're ready, you can go back to pivoting away or the opposite way. If you're a pivot towards, you'll go back to pivoting towards. Does that make sense? We're just trying to change it. Very good. And then we're going to bring the feet to steadiness and just simply sway back to center. In the center, giving your shoulders a gentle roll. A few up, back, and downs. Maybe one more. And then we'll do some more bigger movements. So we want to use the elbows to make some nice big circles, opening the chest, seeing how big those circles can be. You don't have to do anything fancy with your hands. You might like to alternate the cross of the arms in front of the body. You might like to begin to extend into the arms if it feels good for you to do that. If you like to do a little bit of coordinated bending of the knees and then lengthening of the legs, you can certainly do that too. Whatever you choose to do, allow it to be something your body is really comfortable doing. Feels very good to find that space. The next time you bring your arms up, we're going to leave the arms up, take the right hand down and reach the left arm over, and then come back to the other side. So we're moving the arms around the body. You can soften the knees a little bit if you'd like to, really firm in the belly muscles, finding those spaces down the sides of the body. Do you find it easier in a standing position than you did sitting on the floor? It doesn't matter if the answer is yes or no, or I don't know. We're just beginning to explore our bodies again in this new part of the year. And then when you're ready, bringing both arms up again, we're going to reach the arms up and look slightly up, and then just lift the right and then the left, or the left and then the right, as the case may be. So we're standing tall, but we're just lifting one shoulder as we reach higher up on that side, and then the other. Whenever you're ready, reach both arms up and then float the arms down to your side. Woo! Give your shoulders a little bit of a wriggle, maybe a forwards and backwards. Should hopefully feel quite good. Aces. So we have done lots of lovely limbering. Please excuse me while I just adjust myself again. And we are going to do a little bit of practice now with a block in our warrior and warrior variations. So we're going to be working on the long side of the mat. If you need to adjust your mat to face your screen or adjust your screen to face your mat. And it would be really helpful to have this block to hand. I realize now that I've completely forgotten to do something. So please excuse me while we just keep that block to our sides and come to a wall. This is the last thing we need to do. So we're going to use the wall to offer our legs a little bit of strength before we come into using them in our posture work. So this is why I never have the plan to hand, but I need to have written it down first. So we're going to just lean onto the wall. Could be the back of a door, as long as it's not a door that's going to open the way that you're leaning. And we want the feet to be comfortable distance apart, and the feet away from the body in front of us. So we can slide down the wall to sit into a deeper squat, and we can push up the wall to stand. If you don't have a wall to hand, you do the same thing freestanding. So you're coming into a deeper squat and then you're standing tall. So if any part of this practice doesn't feel accessible because you don't have a wall, remember you can simply just do chair pose. So we're sliding the back of the body down the wall to wherever feels comfortable and then holding briefly before we press up again. If you can, allow the back of your head to be on the wall at the same time, and you can come as low as feels comfortable, but remember we need to be able to get back up again. So with the wall, we can press into the feet to give us a little bit of support, but don't feel inclined to come too low because it might not be terribly helpful. If you'd like to add an extra element to this, you can bring the backs of the arms and the elbows to the wall at the same time, which keeps the chest open, and just a gentle press up. This time, coming down, maybe not to your lowest point, but to a point that feels comfortable, and then lifting the heels off the floor. If you're practicing freestanding, same thing. Chair pose, heels off the floor if you can. Hold briefly here, and then let the heels come down and press up through the legs to stand. One more time like this, just one more. Sliding down the wall. Just feeling that strength there, maybe not going too low, and then lifting the heels up, keeping the ankles centered over the feet, so you're not letting the ankles come in or out. Nice and firm in the rest of the body. Heels down and sliding up the wall. Relax your arms down. Woo! And then step away from the wall. Give your legs a little bit of a shake out. Awesome stuff. Awesome sauce, as she says. So this practice, you can probably feel how demanding it is in your body. It also is really strengthening for the muscles of the legs, particularly the muscles that support the knees, which is very nice to do. You can give your legs a little extra shake out if you need to, and a roll through the shoulders. We are ready for our standing practice. So we're going to start on the long side of the mat with the feet together and then step the feet a comfortable distance apart. We're going to try and do this twice to each side. So the first session that we're doing, just taking your time with it. If you want to have your feet a little bit narrower, then that's fine. So you're finding your way. We're going to turn the right foot out to point towards the right. And so adjusting your hips as you need to. We'll keep the legs long to begin with. Block just handy here. And then bending the right knee, looking at that right knee and making sure that it's traveling over the center of the foot. It doesn't matter if your knee is behind your ankle or beyond your toes or anywhere in between, as long as it is centered over the foot. So we're really looking to be able to see the big toe if we can. If it's a little bit further forward, just rolling your weight into the outside edge of the foot and activating the outer thigh to bring the knee into center. And if you feel like you see too much, you can do the same thing, activating your inner thigh to bring it to center. Lengthen your leg again. Take a moment just to settle here. Remember your back leg. Remember to activate the foot in the back leg and feel strength coming down that back leg. We're going to firm the belly muscles, block held in the center, bend the front knee, and just making sure we hit that place of good alignment. We want to make the legs strong now because we're not moving them again. So we're not for a while. For a while, we're not moving them again. So here we're going to take the arms out as if we were doing warrior arms, softening the shoulders down, warrior two, turning to look at the middle finger of the right hand. Play with the tilt of your pelvis, maybe tucking the pelvis under feels helpful, maybe letting it release a little feels helpful. Nice and firm in the belly muscles. Our block is in the back hand, and we're going to take that block down to the back leg on its longest orientation and lift the front arm up. So this reverse warrior pose. Very nice. And then from here, we're going to come back to warrior two. We're going to pass the block in front of the body to the front hand, and we're going to take the front hand, the right hand, down to the right thigh. Again, block on its longest orientation, and reach the left arm up and over. And then we're going to come back to the center and back to warrior two. And then we're going to pass the block from the front of the body to the back into our warrior two again. Same thing, legs have stayed exactly the same, nice and firm, everything lifting that's supposed to be lifting, reaching the left hand down to the right hand up, and the block is on the back of on the left leg as you choose. And then coming back to the center, this time we're reaching the block behind the body to the front. And if you want to, you can bring it to this middle setting as you bring the right hand down on that block and reach the back hand, the left hand over. And then come back to the center, warrior two, reach the block behind the body. And then we'll do one more like this. So we're reaching down to open the front side of the body, the right side of the body, and then coming back to the center. And then we reach the block over the head. Very nice. And then we're going to take the block to its lowest setting, forearm resting on the block on the right leg and reaching the left arm over. And then we're going to come back to the center, warrior two. And then here, we're reaching the block up, but we're going to lengthen the right leg as well. Turn both feet to face forwards. The block's held over the head. And then as you bend forward, softening the knees as needed, but reaching the block in front of you all the way down towards the floor. The block can be on any setting here. It doesn't matter which it is. Spend a moment just easing your weight into the center of the feet. So it's quite common to have the weight into the heels, but easing the weight into the center of the feet. We want to use the block for a bit of support here. So we're up as high as feels comfortable. We've got nice length in the torso. And you can leave the right hand down as we draw the left elbow up, turn to the left, reach the fingers up towards the ceiling, and then reaching down. Swap hands, so we do the same thing on the other side. Reach the right elbow up, turn to the right, right fingertips to the ceiling, and come down. Then here, a little bit of surface squatting. So bending over your left knee first, and then over your right. You can use your block for support, or you can simply reach the arms nice and wide as we go from side to side. Very good. And then we're going to turn over the left foot. So we're turning the left foot to the left. You can leave your block down on the floor, right foot to the left as well, and step back into downward facing dog. Here in downward facing dog, we're going to soften the knees, make any wiggles that feel good, nice and lifted in the belly muscles, and then press forward into plank pose. And then from plank pose, back to downward facing dog. Soften the knees as you come back to downward dog. Press forward into plank pose. Very nice. And then back to downward dog. One more time, pressing forward to plank pose. And here in plank, we're going to take the knees, chest, and forehead down to the mat, moving the block as needed, and then take a gentle cobra pose. And release cobra down to the floor. Firm in the belly and the buttocks, rolling the shoulder blades towards each other. Another lift into cobra. And gently down. It's a low cobra, it's quite close to the floor. Last time, up and down. Here we're going to tuck the toes under again. True hands and knees or extended child's pose if it feels good to you. Up into your downward facing dog. Give yourself another little paddle. And then we can walk our feet forward towards the hands for a nice forward bend. Come up from your forward bend however you like. Just bring your block with you. So it could be lengthening the arms out, dropping the bottom and pressing up. It could be rolling up, whatever you choose. Open the front of the body by lifting the chest and release the hands down to the sides. We'll come back to the middle of our mat to do the whole thing to the left side. So making any adjustments that you need to, we're going to step the feet nice and wide apart. Turn the left foot to the left. Hang on to your block wherever it's comfy, but with nice long legs to begin with, just looking to bend the left knee over the left foot, making sure it's centered, making sure you can see the left big toe or where it might have been if your feet have changed shape over time. And we'll just do that one more time, just bending the knee. It doesn't matter how far forward it comes, as long as it feels good. At the same time, we're focused on that right leg being the anchor, being the support, nice and firm in the thigh. Aces. Let's come back to straight legs and prepare for our practice. So allowing your hips to fall wherever they may. As you bend your left knee, you might like to tuck your pelvis backwards and forwards just to find a place that feels good. Really activate the legs, and remember the legs do not move while we do the rest of our practice. So we start with the block in front of us, reach the block in the right hand behind us, reach the left hand forward and find warrior two to begin with. Gaze gently over the middle finger of your left hand. We're going to bring the block down to the right leg as we reach the left arm up, opening the left side of the body in this reverse warrior. And then coming back to the center, find your warrior three, bring the block in front of the body, into the left hand, take the left hand longest orientation of the block to the left thigh or top of the thigh or the knee, and reach the right arm over. Come back to center. So extended side angle pose, reach the block around the front of the body, into the back hand, and we do reverse warrior again. So taking the block down behind you, in the right hand to the right leg, reaching the left arm up and over, and then coming back to the center. This time we reach the block behind the body. We find warrior three. You might turn your block onto its middle orientation, take the left hand down to the left thigh and reach the right arm up and over, extended side angle pose. Coming back to the center, nice and firm in the feet. Warrior two, block behind the body, and then reverse warrior. Reaching the right hand down with the block, reaching the left arm up and over, nice and firm in the belly, and coming back to the center, warrior two. Reaching the block up and over. Now we take the block in its lowest setting down onto the left thigh as we reach the right arm over into extended side angle pose. Coming back to the center, reaching into warrior two, and then lengthening your left leg as you reach the block overhead. Both feet are facing forward, and we're doing a little forward bend here. Soften the knees as needed, reaching the block in front of you and down towards the floor. Doesn't matter how far towards the floor you come. And if this really isn't comfortable, keep the knees much more bent. You can have your hands onto your hips if you prefer. So we're going to leave the left hand down and then draw the right elbow up to the right, draw the fingertips up to the right, opening that side of the body and releasing the arm down. Same thing to the left, drawing the left elbow up, releasing the fingertips up and drawing the left hand down. And then doing a little surface squatting. So bending the right knee, moving your weight over the right leg, and then swapping to the opposite side. For those who'd like a little bit more challenge, just simply lift the block to one side or put it out of the way if you like, and reach the arms away from the body. Keep your torso parallel to the floor and imagine you're sliding from one side to the other underneath a table or something similar. You can't lift the body. When you're ready, you can come over the right foot, turn the feet to the right, put the hands on the floor and step back into downward facing dog. In your downward dog, feel free to paddle through anything that needs paddling. Little gentle turn of the head from side to side, and then from down dog into plank pose, from plank pose into downward dog. Nice and firm in the belly. Soften the knees as needed, from down dog into plank pose, from plank pose into downward dog. One more time, into plank pose, and from plank pose, knees, chest, forehead, or chin coming down towards the mat. And we're going to lengthen the feet down towards the floor and lengthen the arms down towards the side. So we did cobra on the last variation. We're doing locust pose this time. So we're going to press the backs of the hands towards the mat, maybe even press the front of the shoulders towards the mat, and then firm in the belly and the buttocks, lift the left leg up a little and release down. And then lift the right leg up and down. So variation of Salabhasana, the locust. 2 more times to each side. Just lengthening the left leg down as you lift the right leg up. Trying to firm the buttocks, firm the belly muscles, so that you get that sense of support from center. When you've done 3 to each side, hands can come underneath the shoulders. We'll press back into an extended child's pose. Knees can be together or apart. You can hold this and sway the hips from side to side, or you might like to just hold in stillness. In your own time, coming into downward facing dog once more. And then walking the feet forward towards the hands, coming into a gentle forward bend. If you have released your block, you might grab it again now. And then coming up to standing any way that feels good. So it could be flattening the back, dropping the bottom and pressing through. It could be rounding up if you like. Hands can hold the block over the head as you open your chest and then release your hands down to your side. Give your shoulders a little wiggle. Let me check everybody is still focused. Yes, everybody seems to be at least moving and not lying on the mat at home. So this is great news. So we've got time to do this one more time to each side. If you feel that there's any additional movements that you'd like to add or anything you'd like to do for extra support, please feel free to do that. We're going to take the feet and step them nice and wide again. So now we know that what we're doing, it might be that you're able to draw on the strength of the legs in a different way, or you might like to focus on where your weight is on the soles of your feet or the openness of your chest, whatever it might be for your practice. If you can widen your feet a little more, that's great. Turn the right foot out to the right and just make sure that your right knee is over your right foot. Lengthen your legs. Switch on the feet, switch on the buttocks, and bend the right knee once more, making sure it's exactly where it's supposed to be. The hips can then find wherever they need to fall. The tuck of the pelvis can be adjusted from there. I'm going to take the block into the hands in front of us. What are we doing? No, we're going to reach behind. So we're taking warrior 2. Here we're drawing the shoulder blades towards each other, and we're going to take the block in the left hand down to the left foot as we reach the right arm up and over. From here, we're coming back to center, finding warrior 2. Block comes in front of the body. We take the block down to the right knee with the right hand and reach the left arm up and over. Coming back to center, we find warrior 2. Pass the block in front of the body. Take the block in the left hand down to the left leg. Find reverse warrior. Come back to the center. Find warrior 2. Pass the block behind the body into the right hand down onto the right thigh, lifting the left arm up and over. Come back to center. Find warrior 2. Pass the block behind the body. Take the block in the left hand down to the left leg. Find reverse warrior. Come back to warrior 2. Pass the block up over the head into the right hand. Find warrior 2. Take the right hand down to the right thigh and reach the left arm up and over. And coming back to center. Bring the block into the both hands over the head. Lengthen the right leg. Turn the right foot in, both feet facing forwards, and then we're bending the knees, reaching the hands forward to find our forward bend. In the forward bend, you can lengthen your legs again if you like. You can hold yourself on the floor or away from the floor as you choose. Right hand down, left elbow up. Lengthen through the crown of the head and twist to the left. Release the left hand down. Swap hands. Right elbow up. Lengthen through the right hand, twist to the right. Release both hands down. Using your block or not, doing a little surface squat over the left leg first and then the right. We'll just do 3 to each side. Well, 3 to each side and then a 4th one, so we come to the left. And as we turn to the left, Return the feet to the left, step into plank pose. Step into downward dog, actually. So we're going to go from plank to downward dog. Please excuse me. Soften the knees, give your hips a little wiggle. Nice lift in the belly muscles, maybe gently rolling the inner elbows forward, then lengthening the legs and moving forward into plank. Pressing back from plank into downward facing dog. Think about using your belly muscles. From downward dog into plank. From plank into downward dog. And then from here into plank, and from plank, we're doing knees, chest, forehead or chin to the floor. And we're going to find our arms over the head on the floor, and the forehead on the floor, and the legs on the floor. And here, we're going to do another variation of Salabhasana, but sometimes I call this swimming. So in Pilates, it's most often referred to as swimming. So we're going to press the pubic bone down, firm the buttocks, lift the belly muscles inwards and upwards to create a little bit of lightness and space underneath the body, or the sensation that might happen. And then we're lengthening the right arm and the left leg away from each other, and then lifting the right arm and the left leg, perhaps the head and the chest a little from the floor, leaving the left arm and the right leg on the floor. So opposite sides, releasing down. Same thing on the other side. Left arm, right leg, reach away first, and then lift. And lower. Right arm, left leg, reach first, then lift. And lower. Still firm in the belly and the buttocks. Left hand, right leg, reach, lift, lower. One more time to each side. Reach, lift, lower. Final time. Reach, lift, lower. Bring the hands underneath the shoulders. And then press back into an extended child's pose. If you'd like to, you can wriggle your hips from side to side. You might like to just rest in stillness. Take a deep breath in, sighing out. And then coming into downward facing dog. Just a gentle downward dog here. You can soften the knees, maybe twist the hips from side to side, or lengthen through one leg and then the other, whatever feels good. When you feel ready, walking your feet towards your hands, finding a nice forward bend, taking hold of your block if you have had it on the floor, and then to come up. Coming up in whatever way feels good. I like to lengthen the spine, drop the bottom, reach the block over the head and open the chest, and then find the arms down by the side. Wriggle anything that needs wriggling, and we do this for the final time to the left. So stepping the feet nice and wide apart, a little bit wider than the first time if it feels good to do that. I'm going to turn the left foot out to the right, left foot out to the left, not the left foot out to the right. And then just making sure that we can center that knee over the foot. When you're ready, come with straight legs, firm the buttocks, firm the feet, firm the legs, firm the belly, and then take that position with the bent knee, making sure to use your right leg for support. Make any adjustments to where your hips need to be or your pelvis. Reach your block in the backhand, the right hand into warrior two arms, gazing gently over the left fingertips. Taking the right hand down as you reach the left arm up, reverse warrior. Coming back to the center, find warrior two. Block comes in front of the body into the front hand, and then taking the left hand down and the right arm up and over. Come back to your warrior two. Pass the block in front of the body, and the right hand comes down, left hand up, reverse warrior. Return to warrior two. This time the block goes behind the body, just opening the chest that little bit. You can turn the block into a lower setting to bring the left hand down to the left thigh and reach the right arm up and over. Return to warrior two. Pass the block behind the body and reaching the right hand down to the right leg, reverse warrior. Return to warrior 2. Reach the block over the head into the front arm, and then taking the left hand down, right arm over, extended side angle pose. Return to warrior 2. As you pass the block up, lengthening the left leg, turning the left toes to point forward, so both feet are parallel now. Soften the knees if you wish to, reaching the arms forward as you fold into a forward bend, taking the hands down to the floor, making sure that your weight is centered over the feet, not just in the heels. We'll leave the left hand down and reach the spine long and elbow, right elbow up to the right, twisting to the right, extending into that arm and coming back to center. Same thing on the other side, lifting the left elbow up, extending into that arm, twisting to the left and back to center. Softening both knees, moving your weight over your right leg, maybe reaching the arms wide, maybe keeping really low as you go from side to side. The lower you go, the more challenging it is. Remember to do the challenge that suits you in this moment. The next time you surf a squat over your right foot, turn to the right with both feet, hands down onto the mat, and step into downward facing dog. Take this downward dog to wriggle anything that needs wriggling. Wiggle anything that needs wiggling. And then from downward dog, we're coming into plank pose. Look ahead of your mat, scoop your belly in. And from plank pose, back to downward dog. From downward dog into plank pose. From plank pose into downward dog. This time from down dog into plank pose, and from plank pose, knees, chest, forehead or chin to the floor. Make a pillow out of your hands for a moment. Allow your body to soften down here. Take a few deeper breaths. Sighing out through the mouth if that feels good to you. You might like to gently wriggle your hips from side to side. Just massaging the fronts of the thighs and the pelvis into the floor, really nice and soft. Also just releasing the low back if it needs it. Now here we are going to prop ourselves up on our elbows into Sphinx pose. So we want the forearms to be pressing into the floor. So we're not collapsed here. Forearms and palms pressing into the floor, gliding the shoulder blades back and down. You just need to find the right position for your neck. So you don't want to lift the chin too much and crunch the back of the neck. You want the back of the neck to be extended, pressing the pubic bone down, pressing the front of the feet down, maybe having that sensation of scooping the belly a little away from the mat. Breathe as you hold here. See if you can glide the shoulder blades slightly further towards each other to open the chest. Just holding, breathing, releasing anytime you need to, if you need to. And then gently releasing all the way down, forehead towards the floor or on the back of the hands, toes turned inwards, heels turned outwards. Another wiggle of the hips from side to side. We're going to bend the knees so that the feet are up in the air. We want the feet to be nice and wide apart, the knees nice and wide apart. And we can sway the feet from side to side so that we get that further sort of massaging effect of the front of the thighs. And then from here, we can make circles with the feet. The feet can circle in the same direction. So we're circling from the knee. The leg is nearly extended to the floor, and then the heels are nearly back towards the buttocks. And when you're ready, you can swap directions and go the opposite way as well. If anyone feels that this is particularly uncomfortable on the front of the pelvis, you can put something underneath the body, but just getting that sensation of contact across the fronts of the thighs. Then with the feet bent in behind you, you're going to lengthen the right leg down towards the floor. And we're gently going to prop ourselves up so we can hold on to the left ankle or foot. Or it might be that you hold on to your trousers, or you might need a belt. We haven't planned for a belt, but if you do need a belt, you can have one. And you can be as propped up as you like with the front of the body, or if you're able to, bring your forehead down to the back of your hands, your forearm, and just draw that left heel in towards you as much as feels comfortable. Here we're going to play. So if you can't reach your foot, you just do this with the effort of your body. You don't need to hold on to it, but if you can, that's great. So we're going to play with the orientation of the foot. So we can flex the heel of the foot away from us, drawing the toes back towards the front of the shin, and then point the toes. So we bring the heel back towards the buttock and point the toes away from the knee. So a little backwards and forwards, if that feels good to you. If this doesn't feel like much of a stretch at all, you might consider pressing the pelvis down and lifting your left knee up. And if you want to do that, you can also lift the upper body up or keep it down as you choose. So same thing, we're trying to find that sense of length in the front of the thigh, flexing the heel of the foot, and then pointing the toe of the left foot. One more time. Lovely job. Releasing that leg down, just lengthening through the legs, forehead down or resting your chin on your hands and wiggle your hips from side to side. We'll do the same thing on the other side. So we're bringing the right heel into the foot, catching hold of the foot, the ankle, or the trousers or a belt if you choose. Leaving your forehead down or up. Begin with the thighs touching the floor. You can press the pubic bone down, just flexing and pointing. You don't need to overflex or overpoint if you want to avoid getting cramp, if you're prone to cramp. For those who feel they need a little bit more, you can press the pubic bone down and lift the right knee away from the floor so that you just get that extra sensation of length for those who need it because they've got more range of movement. Whenever you're ready, you can gently release the thigh down, lengthen both legs, forehead on the back of the hands, and wriggle the hips from side to side. And then we're going to come from here onto hands and knees. Extended child's pose with the knees nice and wide if you can. Now you can simply hold in child's pose, or you might like a little sway of the hips or the body from side to side. For those who would like to do something a little bit different, you can tent the fingers of the left hand and slide the right arm underneath and just do a gentle twist here in your child's pose, relaxing the left arm when you're ready. A bit like thread the needle, but in child's pose instead, giving yourself a couple of deeper breaths. Feeling that space that we used a lot across the upper back is now getting a sense of length and release, as well as the low back, which we've just had bent into a different shape. When you're ready, tenting the fingertips of your left hand, coming back to center, just finding center to begin with, forehead towards the floor, and then moving to the opposite side, tenting the fingertips of the right hand, sliding the left arm underneath, maybe taking the left side of the head to the floor, softening the right arm down. For those experienced in class, you can find your way into the variation that works for you. But if you do have the head away from the floor, you might bend the right arm underneath the left side of the head. Wherever you are, just finding that space across the upper back, across the lower back. A couple of deeper breaths. And whenever you're ready, tenting the fingertips of the right hand, coming back towards center. We're going to finish by coming from here into downward facing dog for a little squatting dog. So we want the feet to be nice and wide, the hands to be nice and wide as well. And we're going to keep the heels really up away from the floor. Press the chest towards the thighs, scoop the belly in, make sure the neck is nice and relaxed.
And then take your heels down to your right side. So both heels down to the right, bending the knees deeper and then lengthening the legs a little bit longer. We're trying to keep the hands nice and strong on the floor at the same time. We're doing about 3 or 4 of these. And then we're coming back to the center on both feet, heels really lifted, chest back towards the thighs, dropping the heels down to the left side, bending the knees deeply, and then stretching the legs. Bending the knees deeply and stretching the legs. Just trying to keep the hands nice and supportive so the upper body is nice and supported. Coming back to the center, high on the heels, high on the tiptoes, knees can be as bent as you like, and then taking one heel down towards the floor, just feeling the length in the back of that calf, coming back to the center, and then the other heel down to the floor, or in that direction. Doesn't matter if they don't get to the floor, we're still thinking about chest to thighs. We're doing one more to each side, just nice and slow, keeping the tailbone lifted, the belly muscles lifted. And then with both heels off the floor, knees bent, just giving your hips a little wiggle. And we're going to finish by bringing the knees down to the mat. And you can do a little child's pose if you like here, but otherwise just kneeling upright, opening your chest, rolling in your wrists. And we're going to prepare to come down to the mat. So we want our warm clothing and bits and pieces with us, but at the same time, we want to do just a little bit more movement. We're going to do a few gentle twisting movements on our backs. So perhaps put on your layers. I'm going to grab my layers, which are over here. Now, I've got sparkles on my jumper because I'm still very much in the Christmas jumper spirit, because I really, really like Christmas jumpers. But I don't know how it will look on camera, so apologies. A little swig of water. Feel free to also lubricate your throats if you need to. Very good. So if you want to have a bolster underneath the backs of the legs for relaxation, you might want to grab hold of that now as well. And the other thing is that you could do relaxation with the legs up the wall today if you want it, because it's quite a nice variation to do when you've done lots of standing work in your practice. We did spend most of our limbering lying down, but just in case. Okay, so once you've gathered all the bits and pieces that you might need, you can bring yourself into a nice sort of seated child's pose and then just gently rock back onto your back. Bring the feet down to the floor so the knees are bent, and you really support the back to settle down into the mat. Arms nice and wide, palms turned upwards, and the back of the head nice and heavy into the floor as well. Take a moment to arrive in this position. We have done so much with our supportive structures in the body that now it should hopefully feel incredibly good just to lie on your back. We want to enjoy that feeling of being supported, of being able to let go of some of the effort the back of the body has made. Maybe you'd enjoy a gentle turn of the head from side to side. Just making sure the weight of the head is really carried by the floor as you work, as you do that. When you're ready, you can come back to the center. And then here we're going to keep the feet and the knees nice and wide, firm in the belly, and just allow the knees to sway from side to side. We don't have to go very far, but we're at the end of our practice. We're probably as open as we're going to be in this practice. So if you want your knees to come lower towards the floor, that's absolutely fine. Think about using just a gentle lift through the belly muscles as you move from side to side. If you wish to, you can turn your head the opposite way, or you might like to turn your head in the same direction. It doesn't matter. We're nurturing here again into the hip sockets.
Just easing those movements side to side. If you feel inclined, you can leave your knees down at one side and just allow the weight of the body to find its way towards the floor or as close to the floor as feels comfortable here. Take a deep breath in and out. When you're ready, you can gently bring the knees back to center. Allow them to come all the way down towards the other side. Doesn't matter how close to the floor you are. Remembering to soften your upper body as well. Take a deep breath in and out. When you're ready, returning to center, you can bend the knees towards you, make any movements that feel good. So you might like a little rolling of the knees, or you might prefer to do what I call rock and roll, which is one knee rolling the circle opposite to the opposite knee, other knee doing the opposite circle. I don't know. Just find a way to move that massages the structures at the back of the pelvis, the low back, the tops of the buttocks perhaps. And then when you're ready, if you've got a bolster to hand, you could use a bolster underneath the low back. If you would like to, you can use a block underneath the low back. It doesn't matter. We're going to press the feet into the floor, lift the hips, and support some structure in the low back. So it could be, so in a bolster, it's great because you get to support the curvature of the spine and the back of the pelvis and the top of the buttocks. But a block, you want it underneath the back of the pelvis. That's the important bit to support, not necessarily into the low back. Here we're going to gently extend one leg. Doesn't matter which one. I've extended my left leg first, just to feel the open space across the front of the pelvis there. So the right foot is still on the floor at this stage. If I wanted to, I could do something else with my arms, maybe reach them over the head or out to the side a little wider. And you can also leave the left heel nice and heavy in that extended leg and draw the right knee towards you. So here you can simply pivot on the back to gently tap the left heel towards the floor. If you want to do that with your arms, supporting the right knee moving in and out, you can as well. You don't have to do that extended bit of the practice. You can simply rest if you prefer. When you're ready, allow the right foot to come down to the mat. Maybe the arms closer to the side, slide the left foot in, support the whole of the back of the body, back of the pelvis. And then when you feel neutral, extend the opposite leg, the right leg for me. Feel first with the left foot on the ground, that open space across the pelvis, maybe into the lower abdominal area as well. We've used our core muscles a lot, so they might enjoy this opportunity for length. Moving your arms to wherever feels comfortable, maybe drawing your left knee in towards your chest, either with your hands or on its own. You'll notice that slightly increases that sensation across the front of the pelvis. If you wish to, you can release that foot to the floor, or you can do a little moving of the knee towards the chest to lightly tap that extended leg heel to the floor. When you're ready, floating your foot down, bringing both feet in, arms perhaps a little closer to the side. Allow yourself to find a neutral spot. And then for our final bit of practice, you might extend both legs. Now, if this doesn't suit you, simply rest with both knees bent and the feet on the floor. For those who enjoy it, you can reach the arms away from the feet and relax across this support of the low back, the back of the pelvis, finding openness in the abdomen, the front of the pelvis, maybe even the space underneath the rib cage, space underneath the arms perhaps. Give yourself this moment for a long, deep breath in and a long, slow, releasing breath out. When you're ready, gliding the arms back to a more neutral space, sliding the feet back in, and we can lift the hips gently. And if you're on a block, take the block away. If you're on a bolster, just easing the bolster down. You can place it underneath the backs of the knees and extend the legs, or you might like to change your position now to be legs up the wall. For those who like to, you can rest your pelvis on the bolster and extend the legs up just for a brief inversion if you choose. When you're ready, you can organize yourself towards relaxation. Keeping the body nice and warm in these colder months is really worthwhile. But if you can, allow your arms to rest away from your body with the palms turned upwards, because that's really nice for the back of for the upper back of the shoulders and the chest. When you have organized yourself into a position that feels quite comfortable, then perhaps gently turning the head from side to side to release any residual tension in the back of the neck and the shoulders. And when you're ready, you can bring your head back to center and bring your body to stillness, the most important part of the relaxation posture. As you bring your body to stillness, just feel those residual vibrations of energy in the body. So our body is still as we perceive it from the outside, but within there is that sensation of energy, of vitality, and we're just softening that energy as we allow ourselves to come to this centered place. Take a deep breath in and gently sigh as you exhale. And repeat that 3 more times. A deep breath in. Allow all of your muscles to begin to relax. A deep breath in. Allow your effort to release, all the effort of practice. Another deep breath in and surrender your weight towards the floor. Allow your breath to fall into its natural rhythm and fall into quietness. Take your awareness into the back of your body. Feel all the parts of the back of the body that are in contact with the floor or some kind of support. Feel the back of the head, the shoulders and shoulder blades, backs of the arms and hands, the buttocks, parts of the backs of the legs in contact, the heels of the feet. Allow your body to experience the sensation of contact with the floor or some kind of support. Move your awareness to all the parts of the back of the body that are not in contact with the floor. The back of the neck, the wrists, perhaps parts of the backs of the legs, the Achilles, and the soles of the feet. Experience the sensation of space between your body and the floor. Allow those areas of space to be like cushions of air, and allow the whole of the back of the body to feel heavy, warm, supported, and releasing down. Move your awareness to the front of your body. Become aware of the space over you and around you. Feel the touch of air softening your forehead, releasing the area around your eyes, relaxing your mouth, tongue, and jaw. Allow the softness of your face to spread that sensation down the neck and into the chest, the fronts of the arms, the palms of the hands, across the front of the torso, the abdomen, the front of the pelvis, the legs, knees, tops of the feet. Allow the whole of the front of the body to feel spacious, soft, and at ease. Move your awareness to your breath and observe the natural, deep, slow breath of relaxation. Allow your body to relax a little deeper with every exhalation. Forward. Gently begin to deepen your breath. Bring your awareness back to your hands and your feet by moving your fingers, your toes, maybe rolling wrists and ankles. When you feel ready, you can take a deep breath in and stretch the body away from center, reaching into the hands, the fingertips, the toes, the legs and arms, maybe yawning to stretch the face. Make any movements that feel good. You might like to lengthen one side and then the other. You might like to bend your knees into your chest or rest them onto your bolster and make movements with the knees from side to side or circles with the knees into the chest. Do whatever feels good in this moment. Maybe ease the knees one way and the head the other. Get a little movement into the back of the neck. Whenever you're ready, rolling to one side and curling up just for a moment, containing that sensation of deep peacefulness. In your own time, coming into any comfortable upright position and bringing the palms together at the center of the chest. Lift yourself tall, but bring your chin towards your chest. And take this moment to set an intention for your year. So you have just delivered 90 minutes of nurture, support, strength, stability, balance to your body and your mind. What other intentions can you make for the rest of this year that you will find joy and relaxation and tranquility and balance in? When you're ready, give yourself a gentle smile, raise your head and open your eyes. Thank you so much for joining in this first practice of the year. I hope you have enjoyed it, and we will just build on this to greater things, to find deeper peace and better relaxation and better sleep and better breathing throughout the year. And I look forward to practicing with you. Namaste.